Hey, I'm Jessica Nicole McLaurin,
And I'm Michael McLaurin.
and welcome to Free Friday. That's FFRE for Faith, Finance, and Real Estate. So today we are talking about household finances and the roles each spouse plays in those finances. For us, it
So for us, so
that was a blooper, by the way. Normally I would have stopped the camera,
ain't no need to stop. But for us, so let me take it back. So before we got married, I was the one that handled all of my finances. I paid all my bills. I managed all of my accounts, and that worked for me. And when I got married, this lovely lady right here said, I like numbers. I like to do the finances. So I want to take that on. And I like, you sure? Like, I don't mind. Like, we can do it together. She's like, no, I got it. I like the numbers. And y'all, let me tell you, she is so organized with it. And she creates the budget for our household. I try my best to stay within our budget. I don't spend money a lot, but when I spend money, I spend money. But I know to check with her first. Uh, but she has a spreadsheet laid out with all of our different bills and even due dates, even the ones that are due annually, even the ones that may be due semi-annually, the ones that are due monthly. She has the due dates and minimum payments and what it is, even all the way down to our tithes, because you got a tithe. That's how you get your increase, and we feel like that's the way that we stay connected with God. So for our household, and I want to preface this by saying finances look different in each individual household. The man might be better with the finances and handles the budget. The woman may be better with the finances and handle the budget, or you both may decide to do it. However you do it, I think you should be on the same page and make sure that each of you have an understanding of what it is and what's going on in your household, and make sure you have a clear financial goal. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? It's more than just paying bills. Like, are we budgeting for vacation? Are we budgeting for if something crazy happens, like you need a battery for your car, you need some tires, or you need to replace some outlets, or you got a home repair that is unexpected? How are you managing your finances? And that looks different for each household. That looks different for you, and that looks different for us.
According to your own needs.
So I don't want to say what we're doing is the end all be all, but this works for us. And I think especially in marriage, you have to find what works for you, what works for your household, because nobody else is in your household but you. When those doors close and it's just you and your spouse, it's just you and your spouse, and you all have to figure out what makes your ship run. And for us, that's Jessica handling the finances. Not that I don't want to, because I tell her all the time, hey, babe, please let me help you. But she like, I got it. And I said, please let me help you. And it works. I'm not totally oblivious to what's going on in our house. I'm not totally oblivious. And I think what brought this on is we was talking about strategy. And if you want, you can go into what we was talking about, especially as part of the debt snowball.
Now, when you said strategy, the first thing I thought about was when we first got married. He mentioned, for him, priority is savings. I mean, it is for me as well, but for me, eliminating debt is priority.
She would eliminate debt and have a zero account balance, and that just did not work for me.
So wait. I was gonna hold up on that story. So with that said, even though we decided that I'd be the main I'm gonna call it caretaker of our finances or overseer of our finances, there are many times I will include him or let him in on an idea I have on a certain way I want to do something, on a certain like the debt snowball. Just like, hey babe, here's what I'm thinking about doing with this extra income, or like what you think. And so many times, probably I'm trying to think, maybe more often than not, he says cool. And maybe more often than not, really, he gives insight or gives a great idea of how I could do something different that I didn't think about. And that's what I love about just letting him in on my thoughts. So I think that's important to, even though you may have one person doing it, overseeing it, to at least every now and then, let your spouse in on your flow of thought, your thought process in regard to the finances, for one thing, so that if you're on the same page, like as far as saving for such and such or whatever, or the way in which we want to save or the way in which we want to kill debt, we can be on the same page. Like, maybe so if I'm the one overseeing the finances and he wants to buy a boat, he doesn't want to buy a boat, but if I'm letting him in,
I can't drink all that water.
If I'm letting him in on how I'm handling it, then he'll know, okay, now let me hold up on the boat. We're on the same page. But in regard to what he was saying earlier, when we first got married, well, let me say when I was single, I'll say this about budgeting even now. Every dollar has a name. So literally when I would budget when I was single, I would let the bank account balance get to zero. Like, hey, so I have another, I have another account, maybe for multiple accounts for multiple reasons. But my main account for bills, it's like, okay, every dollar has a name. Like, we finna budget this thing all the way down to the bottom. I never thought to have a cushion, because okay, them numbers those dollars don't have a name to it. It's just sitting there.
They do have a name. It's called
cushion. Cushion. Well, listen, my savings would be in a whole nother account. But yeah, now, so he had to, that's an example of letting him in on what I'm doing, and he gives a different way of doing it. In a better way. Like, yeah, you're right, because if something goes wrong, for whatever reason, some sort of expense is taken out twice by mistake. Now you're in the negative. So we always have a cushion. It's kind of like, duh, why wouldn't you have that in the first place? But hey, that's just how my mind works sometimes. But yeah, strategy. Well, so did I mention what you were talking about?
No, so we was having a discussion the other day because I think dating. Well, you're not really supposed to be having your finances together when you're dating. Y'all can talk about it, but
well, and you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because somebody probably said just then, well, what if you're preparing to get married? And
I was going there.
Okay.
Y'all make sure you talk about your finances and how you want your household to run, so there'll be a clear understanding when you get married on the roles and responsibilities and your financial goals, that y'all on the same page, so finances won't be that small fox that interrupts the flow and the peace within your marriage. So as long as you're on the same page with your significant other or your spouse, then you increase your chances for success. Not that it won't be difficult or tough, but it increases your chances for success. Now, what we're talking about is, debt is debt. And she was telling me the other day, like, as the minimum balances go down on our debt, and I just threw out the idea, she was like, I still paid the same amount that I was paying. I said, that's good. But what if we take what we're paying extra to the minimum balances, let's just say it's $20 to 3 different bills, so that's $60 extra. What if we just pay the minimum balance and take the $60 that we were paying on those bills and put it on the lowest balance that we got to go ahead and kill that? So once that's done, then that total payment goes to the next bill and you're snowballing your debt.
Which is truly what debt snowballing is. Yeah.
So what if we did that? What does that look like? Are we saving enough to where it can make a significant impact if we did it? Or do we just need to continue doing it the way that we're doing it? And like, that's something that we're going to look at. We're going to look at it as a couple to say, hey, what does it look like? Will it make a significant difference? Mm-hmm. And if it is, then we're going to implement it. Once we implement it, then we're going to follow the strategy. We're on the same page on what we're trying to do. And I think that's the biggest thing, especially when you're in the same household. Mm-hmm. Understand where you are, where you're going, what you want to do, and allow, and this is God insight and God wisdom, allow each of you to express yourselves and your difference of opinions. Mm-hmm. And then come up with a strategy, because he'll give you a strategy that will help your household be prosperous.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? I would love to make a part 2 of this. Mm-hmm. I got 2 thoughts in mind that I want to continue on. Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, the discussion about tithing at the beginning of our relationship. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about our discussion, our debates about tithing. We've been married 6 years this year. Next Friday, next Free Friday, we're going to talk about how those conversations went when we were first dating. And then I also want to follow up on, well, you know what? I'll follow up on this right now. What you were saying about, or really what I said about what if you're dating. Mm-hmm. I remember, I think the first expenses we put together when we were dating was grocery shopping, if I'm not mistaken, because we were together. We were always together. So it's kind of like, if we're going to be eating meals together, how about we just, put our I think that was one of the first things we put together while dating. Mm-hmm. So, it just, everything looks different. You may agree, you may disagree. I don't know. But for us, that's what it looked like while dating. Mm-hmm. But maybe we can follow up on that conversation as well. Yeah. Yeah. So, sounds good.
Absolutely.
All right,
whatever
y'all.
You want, baby.
All right, y'all. I hope you have an awesome night. Mm-hmm. It's so many people around us, who I have heard say, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. Get your rest this weekend, especially you mothers. Happy Mother's Day. Yes, happy Mother's Day. Enjoy this weekend. Get your rest. Mm-hmm. And keep pushing forward. As always, keep pushing forward, and we will see you next week. Have a great night.